linesman pull his hammy in the Timbers game?
Hello and welcome to the Tualatin Hills Athletic Center for today's Oregon Youth Soccer Association State Cup Under-19 Girls Championship game between the Columbia Premier U19 team versus the United PDX Girls U19 team. My name is Seth Orensky, bringing you the action alongside Ben Efran. And Ben, a fascinating matchup between the defending champs in United PDX and the team that's technically the B team out of Columbia Premier, who's made it to this state championship team. Two slightly different formations, two slightly different game plans potentially coming in. It's going to be interesting to see a little bit of the decision-making between Antonio Buckley and how he tries to deal with this very talented United PDX team. Comes in as the favorite, but you look at Columbia Premier, they've been able to get to this level despite being the B team at their club, and a big part of it is that they, just like United PDX, extremely deep, work extremely well together, and defend extremely well.
Columbia's going to need to come out and play with a chip on their shoulder. They look across the field, they see the defending champions, a lot of gals that are college bound to get a scholarship and play at the next level. But Columbia's got a lot of fight in them, and it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch unfold.
Yeah, let's take a look first at this Columbia team. Team that they're the only team out of their club who's playing in a state championship game, at least at the U19 level. They've got a couple teams who entered lower down. Columbia Premier, not quite sure what formation. They're a team that likes to switch and match, but despite being the B team at their club, they've won a championship every year they've been together. Both of these clubs will be playing their final games together, so there's a little bit extra in this contest, wanting to go out on a high note. And it's going to be interesting to see, even in talking to the United Premier Club, they said that they know what they like to do, but it might have to change a little bit based off of what Antonio Buckley might craft up to try to slow down a very strong offensive team in United PDX.
Yeah, I think Columbia is going to have to sit back and pick their moments to go forward, probably play in a little bit more of a defensive posture and grow into the game. They're certainly going to need to come out and be composed against a very strong United side.
On the opposite side, Chelsea Davis' team really enjoys playing with possession, and it all starts with the center backs. What can you kind of tell us about this United PDX team and those two standout center backs who are going to start their offense?
Yeah, the coach couldn't say enough great things about them, and that's certainly how they just want to control the tempo of the match and build from the back, and I think they're going to probably see a lot of time on the ball.
It will be United PDX in white going from left to right, Columbia Premier in the Carolina blue going from right to left. A little bit of rain here on Sunday morning, certainly not as bad as it was the past 2 days. It's been a soggy May weekend here in the Portland area, but we're excited for this first matchup of the day, in the OYSA State Cup Championship, as this is the Under-19 girls game. It'll be Columbia Premier kicking off as we're about to get underway. Columbia Premier out of Vancouver, Washington, so not within the state of Oregon, but Clark County is included in the group of teams that are allowed to play in this tournament. United PDX out of Portland, as we've got 4 referees for this game. Looks like our head ref is going to talk to the 4th official. How often do you see that at the youth level to make sure they've got their watches set? In goal in this game, it'll be Natalie Weinmaster for Columbia Premier wearing the pink, and on the opposite side, Paige Everson wearing the orange for United PDX. As we
Here, I think Columbia's going to sit back, and they're lining up with just 3 on the back line, so it'll be interesting as the game shapes out, the formation they really settle into.
Yeah, Antonio Buckley said his team prefers to play a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-4-2. On the opposite side, United PDX, typically a 4-3-3 team, as the ball bounces back into the Columbia Premier's side, and there's a little bit of pressure on the ball, and a good job by Sophia Uverman to deny a potential attacking opportunity. Hooverman, whose sister plays at NAIA Southern Oregon University. We have a fair bit of the college commitments on the Columbia Premier side. Do not have them at this point for United PDX, but most of these players will go on to play college soccer after this contest. Again, Hooverman slows it, but unable to take the ball away. Battling there on the far side with Shelby Simon, and it's out, and they'll stay with United PDX for an attacking throw-in.
Yeah, well defended.
Ball is thrown to the edge of the box and headed away, but right back to United PDX, and they'll look to slow it down. This is something that we expect United PDX to have more of the possessions. That one is headed down in a dangerous area, and good touch from Emma High, who's one of the leaders of that defense, to break it up.
Yeah, just working out the kinks early here. It's been a little bit of sloppy possession as they kind of get their feet set and try to establish the game plan.
Well, and these two teams play at different levels, so they don't really see each other all that often. So there's probably a little bit of a feeling out period as well. This one is headed down, and again, possession has pretty much been in the Columbia Premier defensive half since this game has started.
Yeah, United definitely starting on the front foot, trying to impose their will on the game.
Looking at these teams in terms of pool play, Columbia Premier went a perfect 3-0 and outscored their opponents 9-3 to finish top of Group B. In the semifinals, they beat Oregon Premier FC 1-0. So in 4 games, 10 goals, giving up just 3 goals. The opposite side, United PDX, they tied at the top of Group A, 1-0-1, but outscored their opponents 5-1 to be top of the group. And then defeated Westside Metros 2-0 in the semis last Sunday. So they've given up just 1 goal across their 3 games and have scored 7. As we've got an offside on the near side. Drifting offside was Taylor Rosina Luzetti. But despite not having possession, I think Columbia Premier is probably going to be happy in the early going because they also haven't given up any quality looks either. Hasn't been a shot, and everything has been pushed to the outside.
Yeah, well, Ava Marshall's doing some nice hold-up play for United. Seems like they're going to feed her and then and get the wings and then hopefully get it back, but that's not good enough on the clearance.
Yeah, a really nice step in there. That looks like Brooklyn Jardine, excuse me. Nice job to come up with the actual clearance, and this is the first time we've seen Columbia Premier then he sustained possession in the attacking half. The ball is moving a little slowly, and it was interesting, Ben. You could actually see some really big puddles on the field. This is a nice complex, but we've seen a lot of rain in the past couple days, and it'll be interesting how it affects the play, if at all. I don't think you're going to see the ball moving as quickly on the turf as it might after a weekend with no rain, as the ball is going to be sprayed outside. They've looked to Rosina Luzetti a couple times.
Yeah, you can see those puddles right on top of the 18 there.
White's attempted ball into the box is deflected and easily scooped up there by Winemaster.
Yeah, nice defending out of the central midfielder there.
That was a really nice job by United PDX to get a little bit of a counterattack. We've seen Columbia Premier get bodies behind the ball, but that was the first time they ventured forward. And one of the things that we heard from assistant coach John Pendleton is they like to switch sides with the ball. And that means you've got to be confident getting it outside, and the ability to retain possession is said he loses it momentarily. Gets some help there from Riley Unruh.
Yeah, really good marauding run out of the back out of Riley. She kind of got this thing in motion.
Here's Rosina Luzetti working 1v1 to the byline, and will cross it behind the goal for a goal kick.
Yeah, your momentum's carrying you towards the end line. You really got to wrap your foot around and keep that thing away from the goalie, and certainly not out of bounds. Tough play, though.
0-0, just about 5 minutes into this first half, as Columbia Premier controls in the midfield. Pushing it forward here is Jamie Moss. Her pass just a little bit too strong for Marley Buffum, who's the catalyst of this offense for Columbia Premier. First time that we've seen any real pressure on this United PDX defense. A nice job stepping through the double team by Carmen Lewis. And they go the other way with it, all the way to the outside. This is where they started the first couple minutes, really attacking the far side. Then they came back to Rosina Luzetti a couple times, looking for the cross, and that one will be out for a goal kick. Thought it might have taken a deflection, but these wingers are going to be really important for United PDX. And on the flip side, the outside backs are going to have a really difficult or a really important job in slowing those wingers down, denying any good crosses.
Yeah, it looks to be some pretty good pace on the outside there for United. They've got to the spots, they just haven't been able to execute the cross.
Really nice step there to take the ball off a United PDX player by Paige Johnson, and we've got a foul as Johnson was taken down while clearing it. Johnson, a midfielder, is committed to play at Peninsula College up in Port Angeles, Washington next year. She's described as one of the 2 big ball winners in the middle of that Columbia Premier midfield. Just a little bit of wind, but it seems to be blowing back and forth, not really in one direction or another. That one did appear to get knocked down a bit, and will be controlled in the midfield. This looks like Susanna Fee all the way outside looking for Rosina Luzetti. Luzetti's had a couple of runs. She'll cut it back, but behind her teammate, and it's handled by Moss. Moss slips past one player looking for the run, and she'll slide it all the way up the middle there, kind of in between the 2 attacking options.
Yeah, a little hopeful out of the back. They've done well to actually grab the ball and you know, with the looks of a counter, but a little hasty on the passes.
Here's Carmen Lewis, the center back, who stepped in at the midfield and is still going with it. Lewis looking for a cross. It's a good one, but all the way through, and it'll bounce outside the 18, where it's knocked away by Sophia Uverman. Got to have a lot of confidence in your center back to A, make that run, but B, to have a midfielder fill in there.
Yeah, it was pretty good service. Just needed somebody attacking the ball on the other end. Nice little run out of the back there out of Carmen Lewis.
Yeah, as Lewis returns to her center back position. It's Lewis in the back alongside Jaden Richter. This one is booted from distance, but
she went Seattle to Miami there, all the way back from the left back, center back spot to a very nice delivery.
Got a whistle there just as the ball was being booted towards goal, and looks like we're going to get, I believe, a free kick, but I didn't quite see what the infraction was. It's either a free kick or a throw-in from the far side.
It looks like a free kick the way they're setting up in the line, queuing up in the box there.
This is a really interesting setup to have a 3-man wall from this position. They're basically on the sideline on the far side, but it also shows that they've got some cognizance of just how strong of a boot this player may have. To me, it looks like it might be Bella Town. It's a low number.
I would think, yeah, she's going for a colleague on the back post there.
Cleared right back at her. Pressure immediately comes, able to get past one player, and then a nice step from a Columbia Premier player, but only as far as Lewis. We've already seen Lewis make one run, and she will venture forward here.
They're very aware of the skill on the outside of the ball, and I think that's led to a little bit of, you know, a quick, hasty clearance when maybe you could find a teammate, and Columbia has a little more time to build. We'll see what they do here.
Richter's clearance only as far as the right back. Good step there by Ella Oliva, looking for Rosina Luzetti, but it's Winemaster first to the ball.
Yeah, Winemaster, I guess she always knew she had it, but I think she was debating letting that thing go over the end line for a second, but clearly always was going to be first to the ball.
Winemaster only as far as Marshall there for United PDX. The wind doesn't look like it's blowing that hard, but it seemed like it's knocked down a couple of these attempted clearances from Columbia Premier. On the near side, this is Jardine. Had to work hard as that outside back on the near side. Far side, and it seems like Columbia Premier is, you're right, maybe just a little sped up right now. Too often they're clearing the ball without looking up and picking on a pass.
That's right. It's one thing to respect your opponent, but it's a second to be a little bit rattled. And they may have a little more time on the ball than they realize, and they need to just settle into the game, get comfortable, and try to knock it around.
Yeah, Antonio Buckley and Paige Johnson were talking to each other after that last pass, and it just seems like this is the first really good look.
Yeah.
Pass ahead to Buffum. Buffum 1v1 with Richter, and attempted cross will go into the side netting, but that's the first time we've been able to see any Columbia Premier player, especially Buffum, their top forward, get into any kind of space 1v1 with the defender.
And Rachel Haggerty was making that run, the future product of Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston, but unable to get there, and certainly the cross never made it into the danger area. Yeah,
those are the opportunities that Columbia Premier is going to want to take advantage of. The positive, though, is, again, they've ceded a little bit of the possession. They've maybe been a little tentative in some of their passes and just getting rid of the ball, but neither team's attempted a shot here, and we're nearly 10 minutes in, I would say. We don't have the official clock, but I'm trying to keep it on my watch. Yeah, just over 10 minutes in, and this is probably a positive for Columbia Premier, because the longer that you can stay in this game tied 0-0, where you can kind of build and gain a little bit of confidence and momentum, better they're going to feel as this game goes along.
Yeah, 100%. Grow into the match. I'm sure they take a 0-0 scoreline into halftime happily at this point, but they're growing into it. We'll see if they can start connecting more passes and doing what we know they can do as a team.
Here's Richter with a little bit more pressure on the ball. Working with it is Riley Unruh, the left back, who's dispossessed. Winning it back to the midfield is Pace, but giving it back, it's Buffum. First shot of the game, and it's a diving save from Everson. That one didn't have a ton behind it, maybe slowed a little bit by the turf, but still made the goalie have to dive to her right.
Yeah, Choji, it was a dangerous place to shoot from, but she didn't quite catch it as sweetly as she'd like. Maybe next time.
Yeah, the press is extending higher and higher here for Columbia Premier, which opens you up defensively, but it's also forced a little bit of pressure on that back four of United PDX. Is winning the ball in the midfield there was Rachel Haggerty.
Yeah, good hustle. She kind of followed through and went through the player, but no call.
I mean, we haven't seen or heard much from the refs, and that's typically a good thing. Made one or two whistles, but for the most part have let the players play. This is Richter, whose pass is nearly intercepted. Instead, able to get the ball forward to Oliva. Ella Oliva across, asking for the ball right back. Triple team pressure, and eventually the foul will go on the player with the ball. Ava Marshall, who was extending that elbow a bit. Taking the free kick will be Emma High, who's committed to Jessup College, an NAIA team. I believe they're down in California.
Good physical battle there for the ball.
Ooh, and looking for Botham. Rather, that's Jamie Moss. Yeah. Moss back outside to Jalen Wing. Wing double team, able to beat the double team, still with it. Cutting back, looking for the shot, and a big save from Everson. Ball still loose, and eventually cleared away, but something out of nothing. What a play by Moss, and really nice save by Everson to deny the best look by far of the game.
Really patient feet. You know, she took it down the baseline, beat two players on the dribble, waited a little longer, got a ton of power on the shot, and a great save out of Paige Everson to keep this thing scoreless.
All pushed back here. Working with it is Wing. Wing had a little give and go there with Moss, and that was such a nice take. I think the defenders both kind of expected if we can push her to the goal line, the ball's just going out of bounds. She was able to tiptoe and then cut back in a really nice low shot.
Yeah, really patient feet. Like I said, she waited for her moment.
And Everson, the lone goalie today for United PDX. One of their other goalies is on a college visit, so it falls on her shoulders, and just make two saves in a row. The second, by far, the harder of the two. That was a good look from only 8 to 10 yards out, as that one will just go out of bounds. But again, seen a little bit more pressure coming. That was a nice job by Haggerty to almost take the ball off the foot of a defender. And after ceding possession, ceding space within their own defensive zone, all of a sudden Columbia is kind of taking it to United PDX in the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, they're evolving right in front of our eyes here.
The ball is pushed forward, and this game's a little bit different than some of the other ones we'll see throughout the weekend, because not only is this a state championship game, which obviously means a lot, but it's also the final game that these players are going to get a chance to play together at the club level. A lot of these players are going off to play college next year. Some of them will be going off sooner rather than later. So there's maybe some added nerves and also some added incentive to go out on a high note.
Yeah, for both sides. I mean, this is kind of the last hurrah together. You build a lot of camaraderie and love for each other over the course of several seasons, and so I think we're seeing a lot of heart on display, and it's fun to watch.
Richter, the long clearance, able to pick out the chest of a teammate, but it's knocked down and handled there by High. Right back into the midfield. Marshall with it. Marshall looking for Rusina Luzetti. She's been a great outlet, but the pass just a bit too strong.
Good idea. Really, there was a seam there.
Yeah, right now it looks like if United PDX is going to have success offensively, at least here in this first half, it's going to come through this near side with Rusina Luzetti, as that one is nicely played, but maybe a heavy touch there by Oliva, and eventually it will be smartly cleared out by Piper Cameron, not taking any chances.
When in doubt, put it out.
United PDX, after seeing the ball on the opposite side of the field for about 5 or 6 minutes, they're going to take their time as they've got a midfielder who's currently tying her shoes. They don't want to give up potential counterattack. 5 bodies dotted around the 18-yard box here for the attacking throw. They'll play it short, looking for Oliva. Oliva
nice
able
feed.
to get around one defender, still working with it, driving, looking for a left-footed cross. It's knocked down, and High will clear it back out. We'll get a throw in basically from the same spot.
Yeah, that time she got the cross into the middle and well defended by Columbia Premier.
Yeah, neither side has earned a corner to this point. United PDX still looking for their first shot of the game. Seen 2 shots, both on target from Columbia Premier, both within about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of each other. So winning the throw in there is Shelby Simon. And they will throw it towards the box, chested down. Ball is loose and kept alive. And seems like Columbia Premier is certainly content to just keep this ball on the outside.
Loose call for a handball, but none given.
Good job shielding the ball there by Rachel Haggerty, and Haggerty will clear this one out. Haggerty will attend Wentworth Institute of Technology right in the heart of Boston. They've got a very interesting soccer field that has the T, which is the Boston version of the Max here in Portland, that runs right parallel to the field. Really
hit the train with an errant shot?
An errant clear or a purposeful clearance, you probably could.
Huh.
They not only play soccer and lacrosse on that field, they even play some softball as well. Right across from the Museum of Arts in the city of Boston.
But just too hopeful on that next pass.
Yeah, it feels like Columbia Premier has had a lot more success, as we see a rare foul in the midfield whenever they take a moment. When they take that moment to pick out a pass, they've had more success. And, hey, when you're cognizant of the abilities of the opposing team and you're just trying to make sure you don't make a mistake, it makes sense. But when they've had those better moments, it's been when they've been able to pick out a pass, specifically looking for Buffum, as that's a really nice job to head the ball forward and along by Haggerty.
Yeah, good flick.
And now we see Columbia Premier kind of picking up the pace. United PDX is really taking their time on throw-ins. Columbia was kind of trying to build off that momentum of the flick.
Columbia spent less time in the attacking third, but they've looked pretty dangerous when they've been there.
Everson on the goal kick. Line drive that will bounce across midfield and eventually onto the winger out there. That is Simon. Simon back to Richter. saw some good runs early from Carmen Lewis, but Richter's just seems to be that solid stay-at-home center back.
Oh, what a ball.
And she floats one over to Rosina Luzetti. Luzetti gets past one player, tries to get around another. Good tackle to avoid any kind of foul there right at the top of the box, and another strong effort there by Brooklyn Jardine.
Yeah, Ava Marshall's a handful. Well defended.
Throw in coming from the near side. This one will be taken by Unruh. Unruh looking for Rosina Luzetti, who backs down her defender. Trying to hold off three, and finds Unruh, floated into the 6-yard box, ball bouncing around, and that one will go off of United PDX. I didn't really see a white shirt in there.
She knew nothing of it. Very dangerous ball. I mean, nobody found it. So if you're the attacking player and, you know, take up the commitment and hunt that ball, good things are going to happen.
Still 0-0, just about 20-plus minutes in to the OYSA State Championship at the U19 girls level.
Yeah, the rain slowed down a little bit. There's a food truck out here, a lot of families. Still plenty of time and 3 more games today, so get on down here if you can.
Everson looking for options, a little bit of pressure, and wisely gets rid of it, and a good clearance to Marshall. That is not an easy spot when you've got players bearing down you as the goalie to get rid of the ball and accurately find a teammate.
Tasty little dip of the shoulder there.
United PDX pushing it out wide for Haley White. White 1v1 with the defender, tries to get around the defender, and yet another goal kick.
Well, that was Ella Oliva, and definitely instrumental in the build-up. Not going to come to anything this time.
Neither team has made any subs, although United PDX just got 3 players up as soon as I said that, up and warming.
Yeah, very deep bench. We'll see if they are growing impatient.
Ooh, stepping in there was Jardine, and unable to get the ball, and that will result in the first corner kick as Unruh continued to run. And Paige Johnson, all she could do there was to knock it wide. So our first corner kick opportunity of the game, it'll be taken by Susanna Fee. 6 bodies in the box, including Richter, but they'll leave Carmen Lewis back. Typically you think of center backs as better players in the air, and Richter certainly looks like one of the taller options. Only the 1 player on the goalie as Fee pushes it in, headed and popped up, in a big save by Winemaster.
Oh, making her money back there. I mean, she took a goal off the board. Great first header. I think that may have been blocked by a defender, but there was a second bite at the apple, and you're right, Winemaster was there to put the fire out.
Yeah, originally it looked like Richter had gotten a piece of it with the head, and it fell to a teammate. And now they'll put Richter on the keeper, a la the Ben White role in Arsenal.
Yeah.
And immediately our head ref's going to say, hey, you can be there, but you can't impede the goalie. And I don't think the Premier League exactly knows what they're allowed or not allowed to do at this point. But as an Arsenal fan, I'm certainly not complaining about the dark arts working in their favor.
Yeah. It's very European in the officiating and that.
So it will be Fee again towards the top of the 6. This one headed by a Columbia Premier player, but only as far out as Haley White.
Well defended.
White pressured, and who else? It's Piper Cameron. Cameron and High have been involved a lot defensively in the early going. So
doing a great job back there.
Yeah, 2 corner kicks, but only able to come up with the 1 shot on target. The first shot on target of the day for United PDX, who now has 3 subs ready to go. Carolyn Horner, Kala Che, and Addison Belm all ready to check on for the first time. Only allowed 18 players on the roster for this state championship game, and they have 17 available. Does United PDX, as that's a nice job to push a player off the ball, but clearance goes wide. And
that Sophia Uverman really just using her body well and not giving up the position. Able to clear it and stay strong.
So we'll see those 3 changes now. See who's coming off.
Maybe a change coming up for Columbia. I see little talking to and a couple.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Rosina Luzetti is going to be one of the players coming off alongside White and Karen Pace. And the reason I say I'm not surprised that Rosina Luzetti is coming off because she's giving so much energy down the near side. If you can continue to get that for 45 minutes, even if you need to use two different players, it puts so much pressure on that left back.
Yeah.
That could be certainly an issue if you're having to do that for the full 90.
Yeah, go get a blow, come back, and give him some more fury. Sub in and out at this level, not like professional where once you're on the bench, you're on the bench.
As this one will go out for a goal kick. It looks like for Columbia Premier, Emmy Nieto is ready to come on alongside Ashley Elcock and Madeline Haggart.
They look a little cold, eager to get out there and do some running.
I don't blame them.
What are we in the low 50s out here?
Yeah, it's just
unseasonably cold for May, but you look at the forecast next week and summer's on its way.
Yeah, 80. I think honestly, low 50s is probably more enjoyable to play in if you're going to play for 90 minutes at this level. But if you're going to be sitting on the bench or the stands, 80 degrees doesn't sound too bad.
It doesn't.
Controlled in the midfield. This is Marshall, who will attempt to cross, aiming to find Caliche, the substitute just into the game, but it's wrapped up by Winemaster.
Yeah, Marshall's really finding some space for herself, but I think she wants to hit that. What's another shot at getting full power on the shot.
Marshall has shown a real good technical skill in the early going. It only took 3 or 4 times on the ball for her to kind of stand out to me. Okay, anytime this player has the ball, I'd be interested to see where Ava ends up, as this is a lovely floated ball to the back post, and they're going to say a foul, I believe, on the keeper. No, I think we've got an offsides call on the near side, but that was a really good idea, and that's the first time we've seen Winemaster not be able to control one of those.
Yeah, anything can happen if she can't get there.
Now, a defender did have her covered behind the ball. So we're going to see those 3 aforementioned subs come on for Columbia Premier. Looks like coming off Jalen Wing. And trying to get the numbers on the other 2. Elise Maffeo, who's one of the team's creative midfielders, alongside Sophia Uverman.
Elcock just came on as well. She's listed as a forward, but she went right onto the back line.
Well, those positions that I have listed are the positions that they want to be college recruited, but sometimes
everybody wants to be a forward.
Well, sometimes those positions change at club just based off of what the club has available.
Yeah.
As this is Richter, who will wisely play the ball back to Everson. Everson across.
Composed little passing out of the back.
Yeah, Carmen Lewis, who made a couple of those marauding runs early on, hasn't had much work to do since. So this will be High, who missed communication there. You could see the 2 defenders trying to communicate, but High was out there with Haggart, the defender who just came on. And
probably a little safer, just play back to your keep and spread out wide and make yourself available.
I thought High might have just booted it long as well, but instead was trying to keep possession, as we will have our 3rd corner kick of the game. Looks like Columbia Premier is going to have their other 3 subs get ready, and I think these will be the 2 of the final 3 subs now warming for United PDX, as they're going to try to use the majority of their roster here in the first half.
But both coaches made it expressly clear that they're trying to win this game. There's definitely not just we're using all the kids. I mean, these are meaningful substitutions with intention on changing the outcome of the game.
Corner kick from the far side is knocked down. Really good hold-up play there by Buffum. Ball sprayed to the near side. Emmy Nieto, the defender, trying to track it down. Carmen Lewis wins the foot race, but not out of danger yet. Lewis still trying to battle. Lewis now having to focus on Haggart. Knocked down, and this is Buffum floated up, and it's parried over the net. Good look. And for a moment, Everson even wasn't quite sure if that was going to go into the net or just over.
Yeah, it looks like Everson knew what she was doing, but from our vantage point, you wondered if that might sneak in over her head. And And a great run out of Nieto, but she's just on the field, as we said, a little cold, and then you're asking her to sprint 40 yards. My hamstrings got tight watching that, but she clearly young and fit, up to the task.
Well, and again, when they venture forward, and it hasn't happened all that many times, they've really provided some good pressure and just forcing the turnover, and that's the player you want with the ball. That was Buffum with their second of the team's 3 shots on target. Everson making another good save. All 3 of their shots, though, have been on target, which is huge. This ball cleared out. It's a foot race and a big job keeping it alive, and that should have been called a foul and will be.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a push from Caliche, the substitute, and that was an important foot race that was won by Paige Johnson, and because of that, they'll get a free kick in a pretty good spot. I'm not sure if you can score from this distance, but you can certainly float one into a dangerous spot.
Yeah, again, I'm a little confused by the 3-4 lady wall here, where if you see this shot all the way, you kind of need Christian Ronaldo or Roberto Carlos to pound that thing in from that kind of distance.
Well, it is the center back High taking it, and maybe this is just a little bit of an assumption, but typically center backs have some big boots, and she's lined up where it could be a shot.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
4-man wall,
stick this
5 players to the right.
Right in my mouth and watch her just hit the golazzo. Let's see it.
High is looking for a target. It's a high shot and another parry from Everson. 4 saves in the early going, and the way she lined up, that looked like shot all the way to me. I think the only problem there for High was she just put it a little bit too central, didn't make Everson have to move.
Yeah, I mean, she saw it all the way, but it had good power. It's a wet ball, and, you know, Paige just took the safe option and knocked it over the goal, and here we go again.
Second corner kick in the last couple minutes. End of the game here for Columbia Premier. This one's the low ball that will be sliced out. You'd like a little bit better service here from Haggerty, who's going to get another opportunity.
Yeah, look out for the next one. This is like in practice. She's got a chance to calibrate her service.
Very interesting lineup here from Columbia Premier. They've got everyone at the top of the 18.
7 are out.
Well, they're gonna. I think they're gonna make all 3 of their subs, and no pressure. But Mari Armenta is gonna go right into the game and take a corner kick. So see what kind of service she can provide. Josephine Diaz in alongside Savannah Quistad. Quistad heading to Minnesota to attend Division III St. Olaf College in the fall. So this is Armenta. That's a pretty good service into the 6, and it's headed in!
It sure is! Was that Quistad? Who put that in?
We're going to have to see the
first touch of the...
Whoever comes out of this huge celebration, I think it might be the defender High. It's certainly one of the taller players, and let's see when that player turns her back. It is Emma High, the player who just took the free kick that led to the first of the 2 corner kicks, scores it, and how about that service from Armenta right off the bench? Didn't get a kick before she put it in a perfect spot.
All right, the coach is looking like a genius there, and but hats off to Emma High, who just went up there, wanted it the most, found the ball, and just didn't need all the power. The power was coming on the corner. She just redirected it right up and over, little top spin. Beautiful first goal.
Bella Town and Annabelle Baggio into the game. We're nearing the 35th minute. Again, I'm not official. Even the time you see on the computer isn't fully official, but I'm just trying to give you a little bit of idea if you're doing the dishes or something while watching and not specifically looking at your screen. So still tons of time left in this game, but Columbia Premier doing what they needed to. They needed to take advantage of the opportunities they've got. Well, that's huge because they've defended extremely well. They've given up just the 1 shot on target off the corner kick, and Columbia Premier leading it through their center back. Emma High, the future Jessup College player, coming up with the headed goal off the assist from Mari Armenta.
I mean, into the area, a lot of players, and one player, found it. Goal.
It's been an entertaining battle where I would say Columbia Premier's been the more conservative of the teams, but when they go forward, they've been super aggressive and had success. They have 5 shots all on target compared to just the 1 shot thus far for United PDX, who's had not only more of the possession, but more of the possession in the attacking third, as we see a rare turnover near midfield, and Richter stepping forward. Richter has looked really calm and composed. So has Lewis. We've just seen Richter on the ball a little bit more, and here comes Ava Marshall.
Yeah, she's looked great on the ball.
Ava Marshall has options, pushes it out wide, able to find Che. Che into the box, and a good job by Winemaster. Doesn't go down as a save, but an important intervention. She's able to grab that cross.
Yeah, she's decisive off her line, made up her mind early, and put out the danger.
Clearance into the midfield, and we've seen Columbia Premier have a little bit more success in getting to some of these first balls early on, as this one will be cleared out, but on the opposite side of midfield for a throw.
And we'll see the adjustments United makes, and if they get a little restless, start committing more numbers forward. Columbia has had chances on the counter, and that's the dynamic that seems to be building.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Antonio Buckley, the Columbia Premier coach, I think you got to be really happy with how this game is played out. If you're United PDX and Chelsea Davis, certainly not worried. It's 1-0. You've got a full 45-minute second half plus the last 5 to 10 minutes of change. But are there any adjustments you think they're going to be thinking about at halftime based off the fact they've only generated the one shot on target with all this possession, as they take a foray in here, and Bella Town loses it and is called for the foul.
I mean, slowly but surely they're going to start committing more numbers, but I think at this point, really, it's just to get into halftime, get the girls on the same page, and you know, they're fighting for a championship here. They're the returning champions, so clearly they know what it takes to win one of these, and they're clearly motivated, so it's just going to need to refocus the girls and get out here and try to pick up the hardware.
This one ping-pongs around and finds its way to Addison Belm, the substitute, 25, not 15. Pushing it around, they find Richter in the middle of the defense. Richter's attempted pass is knocked down and pushed forward, but again, the pass just skied a little bit and will go out for a throw.
I mean, it's good pressure out of Columbia. They're pressing a little bit, and but just too quick on that next ball to connect things. Here we go again. So
yeah, here's a second opportunity, and
better.
Cameron able to find a teammate, pushing it forward, and
much better.
They're going to say that Madeline Hager couldn't quite keep it in.
Close though. I like they were finding feet and building as a unit.
Yeah, it's interesting. United PDX has used as much of the field as possible, really pushing it out wide. Whereas Columbia's had more success keeping the ball kind of inward and building out. Two slightly different tactics, and I don't know if it's team speed or just a difference in philosophy, but Columbia's had success kind of playing the ball within the 18-yard box on the field versus United PDX has really tried to tiptoe the sideline quite a few times.
Yeah, a lot of talent on this United PDX side. You just, they're patient. And Columbia really needs to be on guard here, because at any point, PDX can come roaring back.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing that can make up for a talent deficit, and I'm not sure there is a talent deficit between these two teams. I mean, you might have players going to higher levels at United PDX, but both of these teams know each other really well. They trust each other, and a great system can make up for a deficit in talent. I think we've seen a really composed Columbia team.
Well, and I think the fact that Columbia's up 1-0, you know, they can feel good about themselves and stay in their shape. If it was the other way around, I think the desperation level will be higher, and they may be tempted to really go for broke.
Che pushing it back for Marshall. Marshall looking to cut back. Left-footed shot it's the first off-target shot of the game, as that one was just pushed a little bit wide. Just the second attempt thus far for United PDX.
Ava's done this several times. She's really maneuvered well to get herself into some space and just hasn't had that final product, but you can tell that that it's certainly in the arsenal.
Well, and it was interesting because we think, I mean, throughout this first half, United PDX has been the more attacking team. They didn't have enough players forward there. Ava Marshall looked up. She only had an option to her left, an option to her right. No one really joined the attack. And the one thing that Columbia Premier has done all game long is they've kept numbers back, especially when they don't have the ball, so that they are able to double team the ball in a situation like that. Is now we see Carmen Lewis pushing forward. Lewis has certainly looked dangerous, and this ball will be pushed forward. Long run here for Madeline Haggard just to put a little pressure on the ball, and she'll give it back. Ball will be given back to the keeper by the defender. And Haggard will win a throw-in. Good effort from Haggard, who was essentially 1v5, 4 defenders back to the keeper.
Yeah, I didn't think she had a chance to win that back, and that United was just going to calmly pass it around her, but not so fast.
As we've got, my guess is about 5 minutes left in the half, maybe a little bit under. See if either team can get some chances, maybe even a late goal, as it's Columbia Premier leading at 1-0 in the OYSA State Championship game at the under-19 level. Here's Haggard working against Lewis, and Haggard kept it in. But Everson there first, as Everson stepped in front of the lone Columbia Premier player there. Haggard showing that, A, she's fearless, and B, she's not going to give up on any play.
Yeah, I mean, she got there. She battled her way to the ball, just couldn't quite cut it back steep enough to the top of the box. But just threatening with their energy, Columbia. They have actually, I feel like they've channeled the emotion of this match a little better, except for when it backfires and they just kind of turn it, although not that time.
That was Quistad over to teammate. Richter wins it back. Richter trying to float one forward, able to find Marshall, who's pushed outside. Marshall versus High, the goal scorer, and High will concede the corner kick. It's funny because kind of Marshall's been playing in that number 10 role for the most part. I mean, maybe even just a 9 who's dropping. It's hard to quite tell because they don't have a player who's consistently up top. But
she hasn't been so much a target, but pretty good in the hold-up play, certainly early in the match, I noticed.
First time we've seen her drift out wide into that channel they've had a lot of success in. This will be Susanna Fee taking the corner kick, headed up by Richter, but right into a blue shirt. And the clearance will stay on the turf. That'll allow Fee to have another crack at it. Fee from a different angle bounces all the way through, popped up in the air by a Columbia Premier defender, headed up high, and Fee's going to put it into the mixer a third time.
She hit that so well and confidently, you just wonder, well, what if she had taken a strike with that touch?
And there you go. Fee finally does take a strike, but it is whipped wide.
I think we were on the same page. The first one was a better chance, and she just hit it pure right in the center of the top of her foot.
So 2 shots in a row for United PDX, but both off target. Shots now 5-3 in favor of Columbia Premier, but the big one, the lead is also 1-0 in favor of Columbia Premier against the defending U19 girls state champions at the OYSA level. This one is past the near side and will be off the foot of a Columbia Premier player. We're in the last 2 to 3 minutes of this first half, and United PDX pressing for an equalizer. Marshall to the foot of Unruh. Unruh dispossessed, floated forward, and Lewis is going to get there first, but that's not going to stop Haggard from chasing. Here's Richter.
Yeah, bundle of energy up there.
Well, I mean,
it's contagious.
Absolutely, and for Madeline Haggard, you're not the tallest player, so you've got to have some skills that are going to make a coach think, yeah, this player could fit in my system. Well, Haggard's not only fast, she's relentless, as that one is just a bit too strong.
Yeah, Savannah's fast, but she's not that fast.
Unruh leaves it for Richter and push forward for Fee. Fee looking for Ava Marshall, who's going to turn on the burners, crossing it all the way to the back post, just out of the reach there of Addison Bell. Really nice look from Marshall.
Really nice look. I thought she was going to get there, maybe slide in and slot that home. that Addison Belm on the back door there?
Yeah, number 25 just inside the defender there. Really good run from the substitute.
The idea was solid gold, and they almost executed it.
And they've had a little success bringing Marshall out wide, getting her into space, 1v1 with the center back high. As we're going to get a foul, and just a foul. I thought that might also be the end of the half, as drawing the foul there was Paige Johnson, who was a little frustrated early in the game, but I think Johnson's got to be happy with how her team's responded. They've certainly been a lot more effective in their passing. They've been able to pressure United PDX when they had the ball. It's been a far cry from those first 5 minutes where it looked like United PDX really might have their way with possession in this game. This pass, and Haggard is not going to get there.
There's Marisol Armenta just outworking the United wing player and causing problems out of nothing, out of hustle.
At the half, it is 1-0 in favor of Columbia Premier. Before we take an audio break, we're going to take a look through our sponsors who are helping put on this production, as this is such a great opportunity for all of these players and hosted at such a beautiful venue. Let's take a look at our first sponsor, Skyhawk Sports Oregon. Thank you to Skyhawk Sports Oregon, the nation's leading provider of youth sports programs for ages 4 to 14 years old. Visit them at skyhawks.com. Second sponsor is Bazooka Goals. Thank you to Bazooka Goals, a high-end sports brand supplying the retail market on an international basis. Visit them at bazookagoal.com. Sports Pins International is our third sponsor. Thank you to Sports Pins International, designing top quality award products since 1980. Visit them at sportspins.com. We'd like to give a shout out to Soccer Parenting Association. Thank you to the Soccer Parenting Association, inspiring players by empowering parents. Visit them at soccerparenting.com. Tercey's Soccer Store. Thank you to Tercey Soccer, Portland's original soccer store. Visit them at terceysoccer.com. And finally, Veo. Thanks to Veo, making sports technology accessible to all. Visit them at Veo, that's VEO.com. Well, the score at the half, it is Columbia Premier leading it over United PDX 1-0 at the break. We'll be back in a couple moments with some observations of that first half and maybe some expectations for the second half as the Columbia Premier team leads the defending champs at this level 1-0 at the break. Is that Bayo? Because I looked at it and I was like, I have no idea what I'm saying. That's a little bit of a problem. Oh. Well, so maybe it's okay that I completely. Yeah. I'm hoping. No locker room. 15 sounds a little long. Recap now. Softball getting up on phone. Kid on the jumbotron wore his uniform, brought his gloves. Okay. Now, was that today, or did you get to go away? No, that I got to go. That was. Are you a Yankees fan? Not really. My dad is the only sports team he cares about, so we were just getting for a week or something. They lost 3-1 and they hit into two double plays with the bases loaded. And then Judge almost hit a 2-run homer in the
bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and he sent the guy on the warning track. The kid was just going nuts. Now he's in full-on Yankees fan because my dad and because being on the Yankees.
Oh, you're not sure. I was up in the top 2,700 in fantasy Premier League, and then Nicholas Jackson scored twice today. Back down to 4,200.
Kid is up.
Well, I mean, everything's a ball, right?
No, and honestly, there's a slightly dynamic strike zone.
I mean, I
It's
would
a
not show
little
it.
bigger. Yeah. Oh, I know.
That's the look.
It's been awesome though. Actually, we're going to. Rough scene out there, but the soccer team.
Get better.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, bigger kids. It's rough. And sometimes there's another game older. That's fun. I go to make sure you don't get
Yeah.
learning. Honestly, I like this project.
Yeah.
More pushing you, shut the fuck up. We're gonna go to Grant, and my daughter's gonna go to Grant next year. They're coming from a little bit of a shelter. Yeah. But their music program is ridiculous. It's not a thing. So my daughter bought her a trumpet. Walking in 6th grade. I don't know what to play. 5 days a week. Music. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
And therefore she quit on trumpet and so all of it. No, your feet are so wet and cold. Honestly, I love the turf fields. They're just so consistent.
So like, the PDX does is they have those other businesses, and I'm like, how do you do that?
That's crazy.
Like Antonio's a high school boys,
Yeah.
which I think it's like easier for like high school. 46 on you. Like I was watching the work. Nobody knows.
If we're tied after 90, are we go straight to penalties?
Ryan Johnson question. What is our tie-breaking process if we're tied after 90 minutes?
Like the real deal. Yeah. Silver goal. Silver goal, probably. That's like where it's not. That you play the full 30. It used to be a golden goal out, where if you scored, the game's over. Yeah. But if you score the one, or like the U.S. had that in the World Cup, where we went down 2 goals in overtime to Belgium, remember? And then the one kid that was going to be something special, Julian Green, who never really arrived, but he scored. He was like 16 or 17 years old.
He had a better career than Freddie Egan.
Okay, fair enough.
That's not saying a ton, but in terms of very young U.S. phenoms who everyone expected the world of.
Remember Eddie Johnson?
Eddie Johnson's still around.
He scored a lot of goals. I still like this team. I know they need to learn to play together as a team a little better, but
We'll be better when we fire Berhalter.
that's not going to happen until after the next World Cup.
Well, I hope it happens after this summer's tournament.
Okay. When we were playing the likes of Brazil and Uruguay.
Yeah, I honestly hope we get it there.
Okay.
Because I think Greg Berhalter won't hold us back until
Who would you want? Just a real English.
I want someone to give Reina the chance.
We're getting a little chip. Why would not
I don't know. But he's far more effective at the U.S. level than he is at the club level.
That's true, and he just scored. You know, or he had both assists, maybe.
Yeah, and then he didn't get off the bench yesterday in that huge game. I mean, they won, but like, you know.
Wait, is that Forrest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting for promotion, or not promotion. They're fighting to avoid relegation.
Exactly. Who's the? Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't think I like the guy, but
I just think Berhalter's not going to take it. I think he's very middle of it.
through the controversy of the
Yes, that's the thing I don't understand. I never thought he was the best in the game. I think he has a high this is the exact reason why he's fired.
right.
Alright, let's do the reads real quick. Yep. And welcome back to Tualatin. Really quickly, let's take a look at our sponsors. Again, want to give them a big shout out. We will start with Skyhawk Sports Oregon. Thank you to Skyhawk Sports Oregon, the nation's leading provider of youth sports programs for ages 4 through 14 years old. Visit them at skyhawks.com. Bazooka Goals. Thank you to Bazooka Goals, a high-end sports brand supplying the retail market on an international basis. Visit them at bazookagold.com. And finally, Sports Pins International. Thank you to Sports Pins International, designing top-quality award products since 1980. Visit them at sportspins.com. We're going to get back to the second half of action here between United PDX and Columbia Premier. Columbia Premier leading it 1-0 on the corner kick goal scored by Emma High off the assist from Mari Armenta just into the game, literally her first touch of the game. My name is Seth Orensky, joined by Ben Efran. Ben, let's start with United PDX, the team that is trailing. What, if anything, do you want to see a little bit different here in the second half?
Well, their hand is going to be forced at some point. I mean, here they're the more experienced side. I think they're going to stay composed and keep working the game plan. Maybe they overlooked Columbia just a tiny bit, and then all of a sudden they're in a dogfight, fighting for their second championship in a row. But again, they are the champions, championship caliber side, a lot of big-time D1 prospects. And
immediately an opportunity here from Buffum, who will kind of a shot pass there to the near post, and it's grabbed by Everson.
Tweener, but what we saw in the first half, you know, out of nothing, they're down the other end in a hurry, and I think they're going to sit back and look to make their money on the counter again.
Yeah, for Columbia Premier, got to be happy with the scoreline, got to be happy with how you've defended. You've only given up the 3 shots, 2 of them late, both off target. Only the 1 shot on target off of a corner kick.
With a heck of a save out of
Winemaster. Yeah, Winemaster and Everson have both made some good saves. This game could easily be 2-1, maybe even 3-1, based off of some of the saves we saw Everson make. As That is nicely handled by Baggio.
Yeah, really well composed on the ball. Knew where the defender was the whole time and just shielded her away. Made a good pass.
Lewis tries to clear it, but it's knocked away by Buffum. Buffum has certainly looked like the standout offensive player in this game in terms of a center forward. For United PDX, they've used their wingers. For Columbia Premier, they've played through their center forward, who's been outstanding, as this one is turned over and played up the line. Looking for Haggart, working against Lewis, who's able to clear it away, but we really didn't see Columbia Premier probe the defensive third of United PDX close to the 7-8 minute mark of the first half. Already here in the first minute and a half, they've had some good looks.
They've had a harder time doing it cohesively as a team, but they've had some breakout play, individual skills, and then of course the goal off of the corner kick.
So we are just about 2 minutes in to this second half. Columbia Premier leading it 1-0. A goal scored right about the midway point of that first half. That's a nice little turn from Addison Bellm all the way across. Unfortunately doesn't find a white shirt for United PDX. Attempted clearance is cut back to the near side. Battling for it and winning it is Baggio, leaving it off for Lewis. Lewis pushes it forward, but it's won by Columbia Premier. The ball pushed forward for the big center forward, Buffum.
Yeah, it's just a tough ask to, for Buffum to do something with the ball like that. But here we go again.
This is Jamie Moss, who's going to play at Montana State Billings, an NCAA D2 school. Calling out directions and eventually playing it backwards for United PDX is Ella Oliva, player who started the first half, came out, and then started the second half, as there's some miscommunication, and that should be a foul, if not a little bit more. Addison Bellm coming in late, knocking Winemaster down after she had grabbed the ball, but hey, you never know if the goalie might spill it.
Yeah, cause a little chaos, maybe get one of the Columbia players to bump into their own keeper. I mean, I applaud the pressure. I just want to see United be able to work it up as a team.
Here is Rosina Lucetti, who was playing as a winger early in the first half and honestly was one of the most attacking players for United PDX, but it looks like she's dropped off and is now playing in the midfield. Rosina Lucetti looking for Marshall, and that one was just a bit too much, but Ava Marshall started in a more reserved role in the first half, and now late in the first half and early in the second half, it looks like she's occupying that center forward spot.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a tactical move, but United needs to make something happen.
Ball pushed out for Rosina Lucetti. Is able to control it, but bumped backwards, and she'll have to play it back for Fee, who will leave it for Lewis. Lewis pressured on the ball, and see if she makes another one of those runs that she had a couple of early in the first half, and they'll push it all the way back for Horner. Horner has an option in the middle of the field, and it's Richter, the other center back. Richter spraying it, looking for Marshall, will head it on for looking for herself, really.
Yeah.
And Everson easily able to collect.
You got to know, if you're the tip of the spear playing number 9, that nobody's going to be on the other side of you, and you're just gifting it to the goalie at that point.
I didn't hate the move. The problem is she was just a little bit too close to goal to have a chance to track it down.
Trying to flick onto herself, you think? Yeah.
I mean, it would be impressive, but I think that was the goal in that spot. All sprayed up the sideline.
Hoping to escort it.
Yeah, watching this one go over the line. Smart move there by Sophia Uverman.
Yeah, she got a lot of energy expended out of her opponent there. Addison
gets
Bellm.
Bellm.
Yeah.
Winemaster taking the goal kick. Only had to make the one save, but it was an important one, paring away the first corner kick of the day for United PDX.
Essential save.
Only able to get as far as Olivo, but Olivo's touch carries it out of bounds.
And I think that would that have been the first goal of the game, and psychologically I think we'd be in a whole different place had United gone up first.
Yeah, that was probably a 15, 20 minutes in. The goal came somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes in. This is Belm, met by 3 defenders, and it's stripped away from one of her teammates. Only player forward is Buffum, and they find Buffum, met by Richter, and Richter taps it away. Belm pushing it back for Baggio. Baggio for Fee, it being pestered there, and will float it out. Looking for Belm, coming across that's Piper Cameron. And Piper, this is a no-nonsense defense for the most part for Columbia Premier. Anytime they're not 100% sure that they're going to be able to get the ball away with time and space, they're just going to push that ball out of bounds and trust themselves. It's not a bad tactic. Like, let yourself set up your defense. This is Belm looking to work 1v1. Belm trying to cut it back, and good step there by one of the midfielders. I believe that was Johnson who stepped forward. Oh. And that was Paige Johnson with an important clearance.
Ava Marshall's just trying to find the game. You can see that she's really active.
This one bounces through past Richter, but Carmen Lewis able to help out her center back, and now Everson. Ooh, calm play there.
Yeah.
Trying to try to boot it long, just puts it on keeps it on the turf, and now the PDX have a couple players behind the play. One of the rare times that Columbia Premier has pushed bodies forward here in the second half. It's Baggio.
All of this is a build out of the calm possession from the keeper.
And that was the expectation. We were told the center backs were going to have a ton of the ball for United PDX, and they were going to start the offense. And it's one of the rare times where they've been able to start the offense, because Columbia Premier has kept bodies back where it's been hard for the center backs to really be able to come up with those passes that can break down a defense.
That's exactly right.
It's a really nice pass there from Unruh out wide, looking for Rosina Lucetti, and this one should be out for a goal kick, and it will be.
Yeah, good position. It just that pass came on her pretty quick. Hard to control it. And able to get the turn, not unable to get the turn and find a teammate.
Just over 5 minutes in to half number 2. It is Columbia Premier still leading at 1-0 over the defending champs United PDX at this under-19 level of the OYSA State Championship game. So that pass will be just a bit too strong for Uverman off the foot of Haggart, and will go out for a throw-in for United PDX. Horner to take as United PDX looks for their first shot of this second half. Seen one shot pass from Columbia Premier, but just like the first half, not a lot of looks early. Here's Lewis with time, leaving it on the turf for Fee, but just a bit too strong. It's Moss in the midfield. Jamie looking for options and was aiming, I believe, for Haggart, but goes to the wrong side there. Fee out wide, having to track back for it. Now a heavy touch, and it's taken back by Moss. Moss has shirt to her left or right, and Buffum going forward. She'll leave it for Buffum, just at the edge of the 18 with Richter on her. Working the sideline, playing it back, and a good read. That is Belm, the forward, tracking back to step in front of the layoff pass for Uverman.
Not quite the mustard she needed on that pass.
Now a Columbia Premier player pressures the ball and doesn't win the battle, but the pass just too strong for Marshall, who had 2 players on her. And
yeah, no numbers, but so United really hasn't changed their tactic too much yet. I feel like they're leaving people behind the ball, and they're going to be patient and wait for their chance.
Beautiful through ball. Here's Buffum working around one defender, trying to cut it back for Haggart on the near side. Met by Richter. Haggart chucks back. Haggart looking for the right-footed shot, and it's parried down. Ball still loose and picked up by Everson. Haggart again with a really beautiful look.
Great work to free herself. Tons of power on the shot. She just needed to try to get that thing low to the far post. But great effort. And Columbia looks very much alive and spirited.
I believe that's the 6th shot on target for Columbia Premier, really making the most of their opportunities. As
giant flock of probably cackling geese there. Getting a little late jump on heading north.
I know your header in the clouds when you're looking up to the geese.
Well, never stop bird watching.
It will be Elise Maffeo to take this free kick right in front of us. It's another really big save by Everson, who's kept her team in the game. Here's Maffeo to the top of the 18. Lewis gets a boot in on it. It's knocked down by Johnson. Belm steps in front of her. Now gets some help from Baggio, and it's one back, and that's one way to knock the ball away. Baggio just puts her back into it.
Right now, Columbia's kind of outworking United a little bit.
Johnson finds herself almost in too much space. Looked around, was kind of wondering where the pressure would be. Pushes it out wide for Uverman. Uverman has her pass knocked away. Lewis, though, double-teamed and able to avoid, but it's Haggart with it. Haggart's going to drive. Haggart just had that great shot, looking for options, has Buffum in the box, 1v1 with Lewis. Will push it back for Uverman. Uverman's pass is miss-hit, and Everson is the happy recipient of that floating cross.
Yeah, didn't get the in-swing she was looking for, but you got to love the energy coming out of the Columbia Premier.
Yeah, it seems like anytime they get a little bit of offensive momentum, it just brings them a lot of joy, and they are able to just keep building off of it. They don't press the ball all that often, but when they do, they've had a lot of success in the offensive half. Here's Richter.
Yeah, they've taken United out of their rhythm and what they're trying to do.
And one of the big things about this is, while they haven't been able to add to their lead, they're not only generating some opportunities. United PDX hasn't had a sniff of goal in the last 5-10 minutes, and they haven't had a shot here in the second half.
That's a pretty good defensive strategy, and look at this.
1v1 with the keeper, and Everson makes another big save coming off her line there to deny Buffum.
A crucial save.
And that's the player you want with the ball. Now, I'm not sure if Buffum's a lefty or a righty, because she shot with both feet, but was able to make the save point blank, rushing to the top of the 18. And another look, that's now I'm pretty sure 7 shots on target. Everson has been the top player to this point for United PDX.
It would have been a fitting result for the way this second half is playing out to this point.
Belm dropping it off for Horner, who's uprooted. And Haggart, who just thought that she should have drawn a foul beforehand, is going to be warned here. I don't think you want to see a lot of cards in a state championship game. This game certainly has not been dirty in any way, but I think that was a bit of a frustration foul from Haggart after not getting the whistle her way.
Yeah, she's just turning up the energy.
Lewis boots it across, but doesn't get enough behind it, and it's headed down for Haggart. Haggart has Buffum if she wants her. Instead, it's knocked away by Horner and out for a throw, but this has got to be the exact kind of start Antonio Buckley would have wanted for his team here in the second half. Minus a goal, they've done pretty much everything right. And for Chelsea Davis, it's not panic time, but you'd like to see your team not only make some more pinpoint passes, but just look a little bit more confident. They have been the team that has looked like the team that we kind of thought might be struggling to keep up with the opposing team, and instead it's been Columbia Premier, who is the B team of their program. That's the scary part.
Unbelievable.
But Antonio Buckley raved about how well his team works together, how strong their back line is, and we've seen it.
And they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. You know, they're nobody's B team. They don't fancy themselves B team level players, and they're coming out to prove it.
Also says a lot about where Columbia Premier is as a program if this is the B team.
Yes.
As we're going to see a foul at midfield.
You want to see maybe advantage there. I don't know if he had to blow the whistle.
The fact that that's really the first time that we've had something to say about the refs means this crew is doing a good job.
Yeah.
I know that every broadcaster fancies themselves as a little bit of a critic of referees, but this group has done a nice job. A 4-man crew as well. I love the fact that they're really putting out that many referees for a big game like this, really making it feel like a big game.
Yeah, it's easy to have 20/20 hindsight for how a striker should have hit the ball, what the ref should have done. It's the easiest place to say what somebody should have done.
Johnson over for Maffeo, and now leaving off for Overman. Overman for Buffum. Buffum 1v1 with Lewis. And back for Overman, trying to float it in for Haggard. Haggard has been a revelation since coming on as a sub. Been a really big impact. Leaves it off for Buffum. Buffum, the cross, looking for a teammate. And just over the head there of Armenta, who had the assist on the lone goal in this one.
Yeah, I liked her energy. You know, she's trying to find the ball. Had that come dropped in a little closer to the near post, I think she would have been first in line. And all the warning shots and questions at this moment are being asked by Columbia.
Shelby Simon, who started the first half, is on for United PDX, replacing Addison Belm as we are past the 60-minute mark in this contest. And Columbia Premier not only leading at 1-0, but looking the side more likely to add to their goal total, as that is just a little bit short off the foot of Piper Cameron. Goal scorer.
Suffocating pressure out of Columbia. They may turn the ball over, and and they're winning it back.
See what
Just
United
like
PDX
that.
can do with the ball in the attacking half, but they don't hold it on for much.
I didn't get this feeling earlier in the match, even down 1-0, but I feel like United's getting a little flustered.
Well, remember, this is not only a state championship game, but this is the last time these players are playing together, and I think that adds to the emotions of this game. Not even just to the intensity, but as we've got a foul, and is player down?
Yeah, maybe a little knocking of that. No, I think it's just
No,
foul.
I thought they were going to potentially have a chat with the coaching staff. Something had been said, but no. They're just going to give a foul right in front of the United PDX bench. But we always talk about it at the collegiate level. Senior day is a scary day for coaches because your seniors either play extremely well and your team builds off of that, or your seniors are just not quite there mentally the same way, and it can be a really rough contest. Well, I'm not saying that for either side, but the fact that this is the last game for these groups means there can be a little bit more on their minds as Buffum takes a left-footed shot right into the body of a player, and now it's floated in, and it's just over the bar. Interesting look by Maffeo, and it wasn't off by a lot.
Yeah, I think Everson had it covered, but again, this is one-way traffic.
It's the first shot off target for sure of the game for Columbia Premier, who's now up to 8 looks. The ball is knocked down by Johnson, but escorted right over to the foot of Marshall, who's dropped a little bit. I don't know if that's just for the moment or trying to sustain possession, as this is Rosina Luzetti able to get around a defender. Rosina Luzetti looking for a pass to the middle, and unfortunately for United PDX, it gets to the keeper, Winemaster, before the lone field player for either side. It looks like Oliva was left all alone, but that ball just a little bit too close to the goal line.
Oh, that's just what I saw. Oliva just begging for it on the far post by her lonesome. But tough angle to get the pass over, and a little more life out of United there.
Nice little cutback by Rosina Luzetti. As we'll see a substitution. Checking in is Haley White, who was a first half starter, coming on for Annabelle Baggio. So it looks like Chelsea Davis elected to keep some of her subs on who were on late in the half on here to start the second half, and giving some starters a real nice break.
And Shelby Simon just came on. I don't know if you saw her in the first half.
So Simon was another one of those starters, as this pass is out of the reach of Haggard. No, I don't think you're too worried about the legs of these women who are 18 or 19 years old. But, I mean, fresh legs, especially for attacking players, can prove the difference against some of these defenders who, for the most part, look like they're going to play the full 90 for both sides. Here's Lewis on the turf for Fee.
Nice first touch.
Fee, long ball, looking the vicinity of White just onto the game, working against Overman. Overman whiffs on the clearance, has a second opportunity, and no nonsense will get it out of bounds. Yeah, so White's back in, Simon's back in, Rosina Luzetti back in. All three players were starters and were on the field when United PDX had the upper hand in that first half of the first half. As That attempted pass from Unruh is immediately met by a blue shirt. Ball pushed up the sideline for Armenta. Mari Armenta looking for Buffum, can't find her. Richter is there, will play it back for the keeper Everson. On the turf for Lewis. Lewis looking up, immediately met by a defender, and
physical challenge.
Won by Buffum. Now it's Johnson skying for Haggart. Haggart with the defender right on her back. Haggart looking to get a shot up. Did it get a piece? It did. And it will go out for a corner kick. I think there was a question of whether there would be a penalty. I think that the ball had already gone when really the contact happened, but a well-deserved corner kick here for Haggart, and Haggart will take it.
Yeah, good play all the way around. Definitely not a penalty.
Rather, Maffeo will take it. Already one corner kick today. This one, though, doesn't have a ton behind it, and it will go out for another corner. I think United PDX expected that ball was going to go out. The keeper parried it down, and a second look. And is this going to be Mari Armenta, the player who had the assist on the first one? It will be. So Armenta's got one assist.
Yeah. And same situation on a repeat corner.
Yeah, same side of the field. That's probably the biggest mistake we've seen from Everson there, although I think she had to make contact with that ball. This is a better ball into the box, parried away by the keeper, still alive though. Working with it is Moss, leaving it off for Johnson. Johnson tries to slide it on the turf, ball pops around, and eventually it will be picked up by Everson, so no harm, no foul in that situation for knocking down the first corner kick.
Yeah, I don't think that corner was in too much danger of ending up in Olympico, but I guess you better be sorry.
Moss with a brilliant tackle and then tries her luck from distance and misses it wide.
Dipping. She just needed another 10 yards, so that thing was going to find the upper V.
We're closing in on double-digit shots now for Columbia Premier. United PDX still with just the 3 shots, only the 1 on target.
Columbia Premier has kind of dominated the second half here.
They certainly have. United PDX has only ventured into the box once, maybe twice. Lewis given time and space, but doesn't have a lot of options. She'll come to the near side, kept alive by White, and taken away by Haggart. This has been an impact substitution for Antonia Buckley. Came on late in the first half and has played great. As another breakup, it just seems like Columbia Premier is winning all of these tackles. This one is probably a little bit over hit, hoping to find Haggart.
Yeah, that was quite ambitious, but you said it. Columbia, they are just swarming the ball, and they're not letting United play it out of their back end, much less cross the mid-stripe here.
Richter looking to spray a ball in the vicinity of White, gets past one defender, ball still loose, and a huge step by the left back coming across in front of a United PDX player. That was a really important play by a player I'd like to give a name for. I just can't quite see her number. Sprayed back to the near side this time, looking for Oliva, who's able to keep it in. Oliva tries to get through a defender, and it's broken up.
She had an idea, just didn't pull it off.
Long ball looking for Buffum. Lewis, a missed touch, and look at Buffum turn on the Jets.
Great
and
tackle.
a strong tackle by Lewis.
And some extracurriculars. These girls are getting a little feisty out there.
Well, Lewis and Richter have seen a lot of Buffum. So we're going to see a triple substitution for Columbia. It's going to be Ashley Elcock, Rachel Haggerty, and Jalen Wing. 3 starters coming back on. Armenta comes off, the player who had the assist on the, right now, what would be the game-winning goal.
Really strong play out of that trio.
Madeline Haggart comes off as well, and if that's the last we've seen of Haggart, bravo. It has been fun to watch. And the third player coming off looks like Uverman, the right back. Taking the throw in will be Piper Cameron, one of the center backs. And it will be pushed out.
Get the feeling that Columbia is going to start to just operate a little slower.
Well, not only a little bit slower, but I don't want to tell Antonio Buckley what to do as this ball's floated in, and good pressure here from Haggerty.
That's going to be a corner.
So it will eventually end up, but if you were the head coach of Columbia Premier, at what point do you think about getting a little bit more conservative with just a 1-goal lead?
I mean, I love the energy. Everybody's going to turn into a number 6 out there. And they've just had that put it out and conservative defensive mindset, and it's really worked like a charm to this point. So
I believe we're under 20 minutes to go in regulation. 25 minutes gone by in this second half. The corner is put in, an own goal, and it's 2-0.
Oh, it's really unfortunate. I didn't see the player that got the touch, but that piece of insurance for Columbia, you have to say it's deserved. Maybe not in the fashion it went in, but the way they've played in the second half.
Well, and what a game changer that is. We just talked about, hey, it's only 1-0. It could be 2.
Yeah.
I believe, and again, it was hard to tell from the far side, but I believe the corner kick taker was Maffeo, who would be given a fantasy assist on that one, as we'll see a substitute, Karen Pace, coming back on.
And now we're definitely going to need to see a tactical change, and United is going to have to really step on the accelerator, put numbers forward. Maybe
Johnson and Marshall battling there.
Yeah, leave themselves exposed on the back end, but it's time. 20 minutes and down 2 goals. They're going to really have to step things up.
And there's not a lot of positives based off of going down a second goal, as that one will go out for a goal kick. But if anything, it takes the decision out of Chelsea Davis's hand. You can't debate, oh, do we wait a little bit longer? Now you have to push forward. Now you have to put more bodies forward, get more attacking. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. They've been playing through their wings that they don't seem to have that center forward. Now, McKenna Eggleston is the team's normal starting forward. She's unavailable today due to an injury, and that certainly could be a game changer. But do you add a second player up top?
Yeah, you probably do, but I also think that we're going to see this back line venture forward more like we did in the second half. In the first half, they were dangerous. Carmen Lewis, went on a few runs, had some nice deliveries and created chances. And by and large, they've all sat back, defended, and not to great effect. Finding themselves down 2-0 at this point. So we're going to need to see a tactical change out of United.
Off the free kick, booted across midfield, all the way through to Richter. Ball loose in the mixer and picked up by White. White will leave it off for Fee. Pushed out wide and won back by Columbia Premier. This is what they have been doing. In the first half, they kind of sat back and waited till the ball was close to their own 18-yard box. In this second half, anytime the ball comes across midfield, you see 1, 2, 3 players swarming the ball.
Just a ton of energy and tenacity.
Fee pushing it forward, looking for Marshall, swinging it outside. That might be Simon. Simon tripped up, and we'll see a free kick.
Yeah, and now we should see Carmen and some of the bigger targets come out of the back. Not Carmen, but
no, they'll bring Richter forward. It seems like they want to have one of their 2 center backs back. They'll leave 2 players on Buffum, who is dangerous, but this is certainly their best look to this point of the second half. They had the one cutback from Rosina Lucetti that went straight to the keeper. 3 players in the wall here for Columbia Premier.
6 targets in the box here. Now 7.
Richter, the center back's got to be one of the top options as it's floated into the 6, headed away right to the top of the box, and not a lot behind that shot off the foot of Unruh. Columbia Premier looking to get it out of danger, and they'll float it out towards midfield, and who else? It's Buffum trying to track it down, and she'll keep it in bounds. Buffum with a lot of runners, not just 1 or 2.
Yeah,
there were 2 wide open here on the near side, and this is going to be offsides. That was Maffeo looking to slide in, I believe, Moss, but...
And ultimately a great step on the back line for United.
One important step, going down 3-0, and this game would effectively be over. But again, that's Columbia Premier just sending bodies forward as we are close to the 30-minute mark now of this second half. 15 minutes to go for United PDX. If they're going to make a comeback, they need to make it now. Seth Orensky joined by Ben Efran on Oregon Sports Beat, bringing you this game along with 3 others of the OYSA State Cup Championships.
Great start to the quadruple header.
Handling it here is Horner. Horner will earn a throw. Can United PDX generate some looks? They have not had a shot here in the second half. Ball is crossed into the 18, knocked down, wisely kept alive by Unruh instead of trying to shoot it. That one's flicked up. Marshall battling a couple players, and a shot from distance. More of a shot pass. Again, can it be kept alive? And White did just enough. Pushed out for Horner. This is better from United PDX. More sustained possession, and that's going to be a trip and a free kick from a spot where you can float one in.
Yep. Here comes the big center back again.
Well, this is Susanna Fee that is really more playing the 6, but she's had some good deliveries today as she's right along the
What do you do? Practically putting the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, I thought that was a few feet closer towards the 18, but
certainly you always can bite a yard or two here and there. It's surprising to see her go the other direction.
And my guess is she's going to try to bounce this in between the wall and the players. It does. Rosina Luzetti, though, a heavy first touch, and it'll be cleared by Moss, but not all the way out. Blue shirts just seem to want it a little bit more, and there's Maffeo, just too strong for Buffum. But again, anytime there's a 50-50 ball, it seems like Columbia Premier is getting there first. Marshall goes down, and they're going to say no foul in that heavy challenge between Johnson and Marshall, who have battled a couple times. Here's another one, and I think that was more obviously a foul, as that one was won by Unruh. It seems like even here in the stands, the intensity is rising.
Shoved her down to the turf. But United needs to get going here.
They've picked up their level of play. They've started to create better chances.
Hey, Graham.
But haven't been able to put that shot on target yet, as this will be Susanna Fee looking to get a pass off here, trying to create something. Fee hits the 3-player wall, and it's another good play by Johnson to find a teammate. Moss playing it forward, just a little bit too strong there. This is the Columbia Premier team that has won a championship every year they've been together, including the Alliance Showcase back in December. Well, this would be a fun way to cap off their time together, and for United PDX, they're hoping they've got some late game theatrics so that they can potentially go back-to-back. Here's Horner, who runs into a pair of players and somehow comes away with the ball. Over for Pace. Up the sideline, working with it is Simon, who draws the foul. 2 subs waiting to check on for Columbia Premier. That's Quistad and Nieto, who were both subs late in the first half. I believe every player available for these 2 teams has gotten into the game. And I think most of them have gotten in both halves. And PDX has not subbed quite as much here in the second half as they did in the first. It's a 2-0 lead for Columbia Premier. A corner kick goal. As this is Buffum in a foot race with Lewis, and Buffum is going to win it. Lewis wisely steps out. Ball floated wide.
Yeah, off on her own. Not the worst idea to maybe catch a keeper off her line.
Closing in on the final 10 minutes of action.
I think Columbia is going to start to park the bus a little bit and get some numbers behind the ball. Here's the slow walk off the field.
Columbia Premier added a second half goal from one of the 2 players coming off. This is Maffeo, who had the corner kick that was put in by a United Premier player. It's Maffeo coming off alongside Brooklyn Jardine, who had a really important intervention earlier in the half from that left back spot, and I just couldn't identify who she was.
Yeah.
But give credit to Jardine and flowing that. And what a read there. Almost coming away with it was Jalen Wing. Right off the goal kick.
Still, United's having a hard time passing it out of their own end. I mean, this is a high line of confrontation.
Yeah, I mean, look how high that back four is right now. They're maybe 5 yards in their own defensive half.
It's working. It's causing all kinds of trouble for United.
And it's been a second half adjustment. We've seen that pressure come higher, and United PDX has not dealt with it the way that we expected. This is Rosina Lucetti. And this one's floated forward, but again, it just feels like in the first half, it was Columbia Premier who was floating balls through, hoping to find a player. Now in the second half, United PDX is aiming for a player, but 2 players are meeting every pass across the midfield line. Fee will just float that one into no man's land, and it's pushed back across by Haggerty.
It's just been a collective swarm of a team, and Columbia has just a very formidable defensive presence right now in the game.
Richter will push it forward in a no-nonsense approach from Piper Cameron. Cameron is played center back. She's pushed out to right back now. Not quite sure who's pairing Emma Highs. This one bounces around, and Cameron just content to float it out. I mean, it's worked all game long. It's not my favorite style of soccer. I like a little bit more possession-based, but it's a style that has really worked for Columbia Premier. And who am I to judge when they're about 10 minutes away from a state championship?
I mean, they frustrated the past champion to this point. It's really, it's coming off to great effect.
We'll get a throw in as that one did not stay in bounds. Cameron to take. And right now, if you're Chelsea Davis and her staff, you've gotten a little bit more possession, you've gotten a little bit more time in the attacking half, but you still aren't generating shots. What would you potentially pull out of the bag here late in the final 10 minutes to try to get at least one goal, if not both, to get back into this game?
Well, I mean, you're just going to have to think about pulling off a wing back or a center back and putting on another attacking midfielder or forward and go for broke. I mean, it's now or never.
Ball is loose. Here's Marshall, who's pulled back a little bit. Marshall's pass is deflected and easily handled by Winemaster, who hasn't had to make as many saves, but it looks very comfortable. Both keepers have really acquitted themselves well.
Yeah, that's for sure. There hasn't been a mistake. Goaltending, just 2 good goals. And, you know, the unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, 2 well-placed goals,
sure,
for sure.
You know, the own goal, I mean, it's just, that's not what you can be prepared for as the keeper.
Pace, finding a teammate in Simon. Simon pushing it back for Fee. Fee has options, but they're all either to her sides or backwards as everyone's marked going forward. Richter, who's pushed up to the foot of Marshall. Marshall wanting to find Rosina Lucetti in behind.
Pretty good ball.
And it's kept alive. Missed clearance. Fee, though, can't quite settle it down, and it'll come out to Horner.
Better.
It does appear as if Richter's now playing in the midfield, so they're only playing with 3 in the back, and there's a really strong clearance into the stands there.
Yeah, the same approach. They're happy. Just clear it. 2-goal lead. What do we got, 10 minutes to go here?
No, I think we're even closer. I think we're into the final 5 to 6 as we're going to see Piper Cameron come off. And Josephine Diaz, the defender who is located in Arizona. They're a NAIA school. And Moss looking for Buffum, and I mean, still up 2-0. Buffum has a really high work rate. The throw-in finds Marshall. Moved around, and it'll be pushed out up into the stands, and this is going to kill a little bit more clock because there's no one in that set of stands. And this is exactly what Columbia Premier is looking for, as Rosina Lucetti has to climb up 4 rows of stands. I like the setup here at Tualatin Hills Athletic Center.
Nice facility.
Yeah, you got fields to our right. We've already seen one trophy presentation to our right. One of these teams will have a chance in a moment to be celebrated with their fans as that one goes off the back of a defender. Ball popped up and headed there by Haggerty and pushed back out. it just feels like United PDX, they're getting possession, but they can't get the ball inside the 18. They haven't been able. The fact that they haven't generated a shot here in the last 10 to 15 minutes since going down 2-0, it's got to be super frustrated. And I'm sure all of these players can feel the pressure mounting. This is Rosina Luzetti into the box, popped up. But again, there's more blue shirts than white. And it will be popped out in a long run for a number of players. And Horner's going to get there first. Tripped up and will earn the foul.
Oh, yeah.
And she's in a lot of pain. She was caught there by, looks like Diaz, and I think we're going to see our first yellow card of the game almost in the 90th minute.
Yeah. I guess a little late, a little high.
Yeah, it just looked like she caught the leg of Horner as she was going to run past her. So we will, while we attend to the defender, let's take a look at our final three sponsors. We will start with Soccer Parenting Association, and we'll get back to the action as soon as player is up. Soccer Parenting Association, thank you to the Soccer Parenting Association, inspiring players by empowering parents. Visit them at soccerparenting.com.
Yeah, always good to get some guidance. You don't want to overcoach your kid and take the fun out of it or overpressure them, but you need to be a motivating factor, as having a couple kids play myself.
Let's take a look at Tercey's Soccer Store. Thank you to Tercey's Soccer, Portland's original soccer store. Visit them at terceysoccer.com. And finally, Vio. Thanks to Vio, making sports technology accessible to all. Visit them at vio.com. As the player comes off and into the game is Bella Town, replacing Carolyn Horner, who we hope to be okay. She was helped off by a teammate and coach. That one is floated in, and Winemaster able to hold on after the bobble. That was interesting timing coming across, and nearly getting to that was Haley White. That was a really nice floated ball.
It wasn't going to take much contact just to flick that right by her, but and Winemaster had to really stay on the ball if she doesn't make contact, so it's a difficult play for the keeper, and she handled it well.
We are into the final 2, maybe 3 minutes of action. Not sure if they added on any time after the injury. I'm not quite sure of how stoppage time is included. We've got a push against Columbia Premier and another free kick coming for this United PDX team. But again, the ball ends up in one of those mini stands on the far side. Taking this one will be Richter. Jaden Richter and Carmen Lewis. Got to give them a shout out. None of the 2 goals that were scored came from open play. They've done a good job limiting open play chances through just a pair of corner kick goals. One beautiful header from high, and then the own goal as Richter floats this one in, headed towards goal, but easily handled by Winemaster.
And why not? It's that time of game where you fall on every time you get the ball in your hands.
I mean, in my mind, goalies are allowed 1 yellow card just like everyone else, and if you're going to take one for time wasting late in the game, that is your prerogative.
Last game of the season, we better use it up.
Ball bounces around. Yeah, you don't have to be worried about a yellow card suspension after this one. This is the state championship. Played around,
lovely.
and Johnson has been so good,
yeah.
Especially in the second half, and she draws the foul.
Emblematic of the game right there. Just outworking him in the midfield, dispossessing him.
I mean,
good position, and yeah, slow it down.
Antonio Buckley identified Paige Johnson as a ball winner and a hard worker. I mean, she is also tough. She has been engaged in a lot of challenges here in the second half and does not back down from anything.
Really connected. They want this, and it shows.
Yeah, this has been a really fun battle. It's not as if United PDX hasn't worked hard and played well. They just have been stymied by a really strong system. It's worked really well, and Columbia bent early but did not break. They didn't give up a shot when they were getting dominated in terms of possession, and they were able to capitalize as Marshall, from a tough angle, was able to put it on target, but an easy save for Winemaster, who was hugging her post.
Yeah, United's running out of chances here.
Running out of time. I mean, there can't be more than 2 to 3 minutes unless there's a substantial amount of stoppage time given.
Neat little karate kick flick back there.
Here comes Simon. is able to hold on. Simon pushing it back for Marshall, who's been really good. Richter, whoa!
Yeah.
Forcing Linemaster to extend those arms and get a full stretch to make that save. And that will do it. Columbia Premier earns the win here in the girls U19 OYSA State Cup Championship game by a 2-0 score. In the first half, it was Emma High from Mari Armenta. In the second half, forcing the own goal off a corner kick was Elise Maffeo. And give a lot of credit to Natalie Weinmaster and that defense as well, posting the shutout to defeat the defending champs United PDX, who played well. Paige Everson made a number of saves, but in the end, it was those corner kicks that proved the difference. Set pieces in general, as Antonio Buckley's side takes this one 2-0.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sight. I think I see a few tears of joy out there. And what a great team effort and a great team win. They're second teamers to nobody today.
Yeah, I mean, we were told, hey, this is the B group for Columbia Premier. They've got some players in their higher level who are going to some bigger schools. I think they've got a Gonzaga commit and some of those other schools. But I'll tell you, schools like Peninsula College and Jessup College, Montana State Billings, I'd be pretty excited with some of the players you're getting because they're coming from a strong club, and this group worked really hard. Hopefully they can continue to have success. And the same with United PDX.
Oh, for sure.
Not the result they wanted, but they've won a lot. I mean, they won last year at this level. They won a lot of different championships. They played well. Didn't have their full squad today, but they're all really talented. A bounce here, a bounce there, and this could have ended differently. Ben, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up this first broadcast of the day?
I'm just happy for the Columbia gals and everybody involved here. Good sportsmanship, but you know, it's kind of a nice little underdog story here, and they won with heart, and they should be very proud. They got a nice piece of hardware for the club.
Well, that will do it for us here on Oregon Sports Beat. Columbia Premier takes the under-19 girls Oregon State Cup Association Championship game 2-0 for my partner Ben Efran and myself, Seth Orensky. Hope you enjoyed it. You can watch the game on YouTube at your leisure going forward. And remember, 3 more games going on if you're watching from home in the comfort of your heated house. We'll have the rest of the action, including the under-19 boys game, coming up at noon.